Hi, I'm Dr. Gaby Cora, and welcome to my show, Dr. Gaby's Take, Make Life Interesting. Our topic today is leadership and influence. What a topic. Well, if we surveyed most of our corporate executives and or entrepreneurs, we would probably see that many of them were bossing other kids around. Many of them were probably organizing big events in school, and many of them were probably also inventing gadgets while they were in school. Which leads us into our second question, which is leadership, is a leader born or made? This is the eternal dilemma. So is it nature or is it nurture or is it a combination of both? Well, I strongly believe that we really are born with many of these leadership traits. A lot of it has to do with our personality. So some traits such as ambition, for example, or tons of energy are probably wired into our brains from the moment we're born. Now, at the same time, though, the environment will predetermine whether or not we will be able to rise to the occasion. So nature versus nurture, let's say that there's a true combination of both. Now, sometimes we can have all these traits that may be dormant in some shape or form. And which brings us to another concept, which is quite interesting too. Do leaders are they always guided by positive ways of leadership or negative ones? So if we could predetermine that there are these traits that with which we are born with, but we will need to make a decision as to whether or not to use these traits in a positive environment and or in a negative environment, that will be an interesting choice, an interesting decision for that leader to make. So that's a second point there too. Now the third point is a leader, does a leader become a leader by accident or by design? Many times a leader will rise to the occasion when he or she realizes that there's a need for his or her leadership. And some other times that person will become a leader when other people ask them to become the leaders. Now by design, sometimes we will continue to go up, for example, that corporate ladder, and we will get that denomination of authority. So we will become a director or a manager or whatever other position as we're coming up the ladder. And that will be another interesting point to consider. The third point that is also interesting today is what are the qualities of a leader? What I found is in my work is that many leaders tend to be bossy in general. So there's some kind of inflexibility or rigidity that we can see at first. Many leaders rise to the occasion by being able to make a tough decision when the time demands for that decision. However, at the same time, I've seen that many great leaders have become more and more flexible through time. Probably because they've needed to, probably because they've been coached to become more flexible also, but also because they become richer in their traits, in their ability to do certain things particularly when they realize that becoming too bossy, being too direct, or just giving orders to everyone won't get the job done. The second part, which is very interesting too, is does a leader reign by being charismatic or by just flagging their title? And true leadership has some of that charisma flowing most times, and it's inviting of other people to follow through that leadership. So this brings me to another point, which is, does then a leader become a leader by being bossy or by ruling by consensus? And what I've seen is that there's many leaders who, if they've been really nurturing that flexibility, they will be able to lead by giving directions directly at certain points in time and by inviting consensus when there's time for consensus. So that's a bit of a mix of what I've seen in terms of leadership and influence. Now, another interesting point about leadership is, how does a leader create, maintain, and then grow their own tribe? The first common denominator I usually see is that most leaders inspire others with their vision. In a way, if I have a vision and if I have an idea of a better future and I can effectively communicate this to other people are going to be inspired by this and they will try to follow. The second part is having some flexibility in foreseeing some needs that may be important along the way. True leaders are going to be able to foresee that even before their tribe may even see that need itself. And the third one is, how do you really grow your tribe? How do you really grow your social network? How do you really grow that group of followers? And you'd really do this by inviting other people to feel like the tribe belongs to them as well. When a leader invites others to feel that it is our tribe and not my tribe and your following, that's where true leadership resides. So thank you for joining me in Leadership and Influence today. Let me introduce you to my guest today, the iconic Randy Gage. Randy is a self-made millionaire. He is a master mentor, an international speaker, and a very savvy entrepreneur. From behind the scenes, I hope you will enjoy this interview as much as I have enjoyed it myself. How about religion? I know you're highly spiritual, and many people confuse being spiritual with being religious or feel that there needs to be some sort of organization behind that. So when did you realize, how this operated and how it was impacting upon you and the people that you serve also, because you've been helping thousands of people, and I know your principles, you're very straightforward about the way that you think about them and the way that you teach.
Yeah, I grew up an atheist, a rabid, diehard atheist, and probably about 30 years old, I was exposed to religion at a time in my life where I was really searching, because nothing in my life was working. My health, my relationships, my business, everything was cratering. So I was open to it, and I looked at organized religion, and that didn't speak to me, so I didn't get involved with it. I still felt like, okay, I was open to the possibility that there was a higher being, a divine force. So I got open to that, but I was totally turned off by organized religion. And then I found unity and science of mind, the works of Charles Fillmore and Ernest Holmes, and that fit for me. So I am very spiritual, and I have a Unity church here in Miami that I attend, Unity on the Bay, that helps me nourish my spiritual sustenance without all the doctrines and dogma that you see with many organized religions.
So that, and in a way that I think that's also impacted the way that you help other people as well. Like, I attended one of your Unity church gatherings that you had, starting like at 8 p.m. going through 4 a.m. And just the ambiance, the energy was great in a way as well. So.
Well, yeah, it totally impacts what I do, because my work is I don't do book reports. There's a lot of speakers that they're doing book reports on whatever's on the bestseller list. They don't need me to do that. They can just buy the book and get what the author said. my work, whether it's my blog or my latest book or my latest seminar, I'm just telling you what's working for me right now. I don't claim to be an all-knowing, omniscient, omnipresent, whatever guy. I'm a guy who was sick and broke and frustrated for 30 years of my life, and now figured out some things, and I really have a wonderful life. And I'm just sharing what's working or not working for me in the moment. And so that deeply impacts my work.